Thanks for listening to Cool Meanderings with Dr. Germ G. Welcome back to Cool Meanderings with Dr. Germ G. Hope you're having a good day. So, are the New York Knicks on the verge of their first NBA championship since 1973? Can they win the championship? No, I don't think so. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are the favorites to win it. However, this Knicks team, man, they are explosive. This is probably the Knicks' best team that they've put on the court since the 1972-73 season when they beat the Los Angeles Lakers, defending champion Los Angeles Lakers, in 5 games. I think this is definitely their best squad. Jalen Brunson, they're arguably their best player. I mean, on paper, he's the best player, but you can make a debate that Karl Anthony Towns, the center, is just as valuable. But Brunson has stepped up. I mean, through 8 playoff games, he's averaged basically 27 points, just about 6 assists. OG Anunoby, who was out for the past 2 games, still is giving them 21 points a game in the playoffs. Towns is giving them about 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. And they're even getting production from Mikal Bridges. He's giving them about 12 points a game in the playoffs. I should note that these playoffs have been all about the Knicks dismantling their competition. They just finished sweeping the 76ers. They beat them yesterday. They let them off the hook. They only beat them by 30. There was a time when the Knicks were up by more than 40, but they took their foot off the gas and they won 144 to 114. It was their second series closeout with a margin of at least 20 points, because they closed out the Atlanta Hawks. I think they demolished them. Let's see. They demolished the Atlanta Hawks in the first round of the playoffs by a pretty nasty score as well. They beat the Hawks 140 to 89. That's right. 140 to 89. That's a 51-point margin. 51-point margin. Yeah. So the Knicks are playing at a completely different level. And this was after they lost game 3 and there was some concern against Atlanta. They were down 2-1. And there was the thought that maybe, the Knicks might be wilting a little bit. There might be some pressure. It seemed that for the Hawks, they had a gentleman whose name now I can't even think of, but because at this point it's irrelevant. But essentially, they had a veteran player, C.J. McCollum, who was getting the best of Jalen Brunson, because Brunson's not known for his defense. So after the 3rd game, there was a thought, okay, the Knicks are down. I mean, mind you, they lost game 2 and game 3 against the Hawks by 1 point. They won the first game by 1 point, by 11. They won 113 to 102. So that was an 11-point margin. They lost the second game 107 to 106. And the 3rd game in Atlanta, 109 to 108. Well, that was their wake-up call, because after that, they just went on a tear. They've won 7 straight playoff games. Let me just run you down the scores. So they won game 4 emphatically, 114 to 98. Then they took it to a whole other level in game 5, 126 to 97. And then yet there was another level. They won game 6, the decisive closeout game, 140 to 89, 51-point margin. Now going into the Philadelphia 76ers series, The Sixers had Joel Embiid, who had surprised the Boston Celtics, the 2 seed. The Sixers were a 7 seed because they've been inconsistent all year, okay? Their record suggested that they were a mediocre team at best, that the Boston Celtics, the 2nd seed Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum back, who were expected to take out the Sixers. They were expected to take out the Sixers in 6 games. They were up 3-1. But somehow the Sixers came back, took 3 in a row, including Game 7 in Boston. And with a somewhat healthy Joel Embiid at the center, there was a thought that perhaps this would be a competitive series. Well, the Knicks sent a message right away in Game 1, taking it 137-98. That's right, a 39-point beatdown in Game 1, 137-98. Now, the Sixers responded, as veterans do. They came back in Game 2 and were ahead going into the 4th quarter. But the Knicks, they surged late, took that one, 108-102. So the moment of truth was Game 3. What would the Sixers do at home? Game 3, home crowd. Had a quick start, but then the Knicks just took over. And they took Game 3, 108-94. Yeah, a respectable margin. You thought, okay. And then the avalanche of threes and turnovers and just defense from the Knicks in Game 4. And the score doesn't even give it justice. The final score was 144-114. The Knicks had 81 points at the half. They scored 81 points in the first half. It was 81-57 in the first half. The Knicks, the Knicks, the New York Knicks from the 1990s with, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, and Anthony Mason, 3 dribbles and a pivot to the paint, and the hot and cold shooting from John Starks. Or you go back to the 80s when they had Bernard King and Rory Sparrow, and teams that would tease you at times, give you hope, false hope, that perhaps this was a team on the rise. And yes, some of those 90s teams had their moments. The Knicks came close a few times in the 90s. To me, although they went to the finals in 94, I thought their 92-93 team was probably their strongest team. And they should have won that series against the Bulls. It was 2-2. Knicks had home court. Deservedly so. They had a better season. They had home court advantage. Game 5 at home in the Garden. At the end of the day, it came down to Charles Smith, the power forward that the Knicks had picked up in a trade. It came down to Charles Smith getting a bucket. He could not get a bucket. He could not get a layup or dunk. His shot was blocked repeatedly by Scottie Pippen and Jordan. And next thing you know, game over, Game 5. And then, of course, they go down in Chicago Game 6, end of series. I still believe that they had figured out a way to just get one more point than Chicago in that Game 5, they would have gone to the finals that year. Now, would they have beaten the Phoenix Suns, who were the best team in the league that year, record-wise? Charles Barkley was the MVP? I don't know. You look at the regular season matchups, but you have to throw that stuff out the window. I felt like had they had beaten the Knicks had beaten the Bulls at that point, they would have had a momentum. And who knows? You see what happens. Now, the next year, the 93-94 season is important because Jordan's gone. He had retired due to any number of reasons. Sadly, he lost his father in a carjacking. But he had decided that he wanted to try baseball. So the Knicks had basically, the Knicks had their best opportunity, and they took full advantage. Well, they almost took full advantage. They finished off the Bulls in the second round. They beat the Pacers, who surprisingly took them to a 7th game in the Eastern Conference Finals. They get to the finals, and it's a toss-up with the Houston Rockets. They're going back and forth. The Rockets have the home court. They had a better record in the regular season. But you get to Game 6. The Knicks are up 3-2 with a chance to win it. John Starks is on fire. And look, Hakeem Olajuwon makes probably a series-saving block of Starks' 3-point shot at the end of the game. If Hakeem doesn't step over and block Starks' shot, the Knicks are probably champions. Probably. I mean, obviously the shot could fall. Not fall. He could have shot a brick, but he was in such a rhythm that night that it took a Defensive Player of the Year caliber play from Olajuwon. And ultimately it made a difference. He ended up being the Finals MVP, deservedly so. I think that's right. I think Olajuwon was the Finals MVP. I'm pretty sure he was. I mean, hold on. I'm pretty sure. I'm just verifying here my information. I'm pretty sure it was, but you know what? It could have been Vernon Maxwell, who I couldn't stand. No, it was Hakeem Olajuwon, of course. Yes. Yeah, because basically that block saved the game, and it saved the series for the Rockets, who then went on and beat the Knicks in Game 7. I remember watching Game 7 with my dad and my older brother, and we were just it was a moment of deep disappointment and dejection. Lots of D's there, but I'm just giving you a sense of what it was like sitting there in those final minutes, watching the Knicks' golden opportunity slip away, and the Rockets somehow finding a way to beat my Knicks 90-84 in Game 7. I mean, and since then, I mean, they've had some moments. I mean, they went to the finals. The Knicks went to the finals in '99, but they had no chance. They played the Spurs when the Spurs had a young Tim Duncan and an aging David Robinson. The Knicks had no shot, as evident by the fact that it ended in 5. So they had no shot there. And everyone references the 1995 playoffs when Patrick Ewing blew the layup in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals against the Indiana Pacers. The score was 107-105. If Ewing makes the shot, the game goes to overtime. It was a pretty basic layup, standard layup that he'd done for years. But for some reason, this time the ball just bounced off the rim. And time expired. Series over. And quite frankly, the end of the era, because shortly after that, Pat Riley, the head coach of the Knicks, would end up taking a sweet deal with the Miami Heat, which he still continues to benefit from this day as he's in upper management, having won a championship with the Heat in the mid-2000s that he didn't bring to the Knicks, but he did bring it to the Heat. So good for him. Terrible for us Knicks fans. But anyway, all that to say that the New York Knicks have come a long way as a franchise, and the fan base has been loyal. So loyal. It's been 53 years. 53 years since the Knicks have last come so close. And I mean, yes, I know literally they were close in 94, but this team feels like it feels like they are in the driver's seat. I know that their regular season matchups against both Detroit and Cleveland were not, they did okay against Cleveland. Against Cleveland, they went 2 for 2. Now, granted, the 2 wins came early in the season. The last two matchups against Cleveland, well, actually they split. They played 3 games. And the Knicks took 2 out of 3, which is fine. Now, with Detroit, I'm not sure how they're going to solve this one. If they end up playing Detroit, because Detroit dominated this season series. I mean, look at these scores. I mean, they beat the Knicks, 126-111 on February 19th. Detroit Pistons we're talking about here, folks. For those that don't really follow basketball. The Detroit Pistons, who have been a pretty terrible team in recent memory, are now, they're the number 1 seed this year in the Eastern Conference. So the Knicks took 2 out of 3 from the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are down to the Pistons 2-1. Most analysts predict the series will go 6 or 7 games. I expect Detroit to come out on top. And if it is Detroit, if you're just looking at the matchup So during the season, Detroit blew out the Knicks on February 19th, 126-111. And they also destroyed them on February 6th, 118-80. Yeah. And they beat them on January 5th, 121-90. Yeah, so Detroit, during the regular season, probably enjoyed having the Knicks on the schedule. Now, that said, that was a while ago. A lot has happened since then. I mean, but then you could also say, well, if you look at the games with the Sixers this year, I mean, the Knicks enjoyed playing the Sixers. Actually, the game prior to losing to Detroit, the Knicks played the Sixers and beat them 138-89. So, what am I saying? I mean, the regular season does count for something. In fairness, the Sixers did beat them 130-119 back in January. So I don't know. I tend to think that this Knicks team right now they have momentum. I think they have a pretty good momentum going into the Eastern Conference Finals. And if it is Detroit got exposed when they took that series with Orlando to 7 games. Detroit doesn't have enough shooters, in my view, to handle what the Knicks are bringing now. The Knicks are on a roll. They're combining great defense with hot shooting. And if that doesn't change, the only thing I would say is that Detroit is probably a better matchup in the paint than either Philly or Atlanta. But we'll see. But if you can't put the ball in the hoop, I don't know what you're going to do. So my guess is that Detroit will probably push the Knicks to 6 games, but the Knicks will prevail, head back to the finals. And if they end up beating Detroit in a way that they've beaten Atlanta and Philly, well, you know what? We really need to start thinking about a potential, OKC Knicks matchup. And this isn't to say that, Minnesota or San Antonio won't have something to say about things, but I'm inclined to think that San Antonio will find a way to win that series. And if I'm right, and if it's OKC and San Antonio, they'll probably have a 6 or 7 game series, with OKC finding a way to finish them off and get back to the NBA Finals. And if they're back in the NBA Finals and the Knicks are waiting for them, hey, listen, they had 2 matchups in March, and their game at the Garden was only a 3-point game. Knicks lost, of course, but it was 103-100. Not bad. And at OKC, only an 11-point loss, 111-100. I mean, look, I say all this to say that, do I think the Knicks are going to win a championship? Probably not. But does it feel like they're closer than they've ever been? Yes. It feels like they are so close, razor thin close, that quite frankly, I am not opposed to saying that anything's possible. I feel like that, they have a shot. They have a legit shot to beat, not just to get to the finals, but to win it. But let's see what happens. Let's see how things play out. Let's see how the Pistons-Cavaliers series ends. And if I'm right, and the Knicks show the Pistons what it's like to play in the Eastern Conference Finals, because this is a young team, the Pistons. And they get to the finals for the first time since 2000. I'm sorry, since 1999. In 2000, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Pacers, who would lose to the Lakers in the finals. The Shaq and Kobe Lakers. But the Knicks get to the finals, and OKC is waiting for them. All bets are off. Now, consider this. Now, if for some reason, OKC has a problem, if for some strange reason OKC has a hiccup, And should they lose to, say, San Antonio, and we get San Antonio and the Knicks in the NBA Finals, my friends, this is a rematch of the NBA Cup final, which the Knicks won on December 16th, 124-113. Now, how significant is that? Not so much. I mean, it's just coincidence at this point. These are two different teams at this point from December. But the Knicks are I would argue the Knicks are hot. And if the Spurs were to somehow survive the playoffs and get there, then you have to give them credit too. And what am I saying? I'm saying that the New York Knicks are so close, closer than I ever thought they would be at this point, that I am literally imagining a possible New York Knicks championship banner for 2026. As a Knicks fan, I feel like this is, since the 90s, since 1994, 93, 94, I feel like we're right on the doorstep. Let's see what happens. How are you feeling about the Knicks' chances to win the championship? Drop me a line at drgermg@coolmeanderings.com. And definitely check out the rest of my podcast episodes. They are on Spotify, Apple Music. They're on a bunch of streaming services. Spotify, Amazon. Check us out. Oh, and of course on YouTube. We're also on YouTube. You can go to the Dr. Germ G channel and listen to any of my episodes there. And some other videos. I put out a couple of videos lately that are dealing with education-related issues. I'm actually working on a podcast episode to follow up on that. So drop me a line at Dr. Germ G or Dr. Germ G at coolmeanderings.com. You can also follow me on Instagram, Dr. Germ. All right. Thanks for listening. I'm out. This is the Cool Meanderings podcast with Dr. Germ G.